Farm Week is a production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, 2 Mississippians were tapped last week for top honors at the Beltwide Cotton Conferences in New Orleans.
Mississippi 4-H'ers learn about the business of government and commerce.
In Southern Gardening, Winter Gardens find out how you can have color in the winter.
In the markets, cotton makes some gains, while the expansion of the nation's hog herd has begun.
In the feature segment, FARMtastic, this annual regional event seeks to help school children learn that agriculture and forestry touches their lives on a daily basis.
I just wanted to see the kids learn where their food and fiber comes from. I was tired of going to the schools and being around and the kids telling me that chocolate milk come from a brown cow.
Good day, everyone. I'm Leighton Spann.
And I'm Artist Ford. Welcome to Farm Week.
The 2014 Beltwide Cotton Conferences ended last week in New Orleans.
Leighton, 2 Mississippians were tapped for some of the highest honors awarded there. One is younger, the other older, but both are well known for their tireless efforts to support the cotton industry in Mississippi. Kenneth Hood of Gunnison was named the 2014 High Cotton winner for the Delta States area. Hood and his 3 brothers operate the 12,000-acre Perthshire farms in Bolivar County. This year, Hood will plant his 54th cotton crop. Hood is a Mississippi State University graduate and he's very active in the national cotton industry. Hood served in 2002 as chairman of the National Cotton Council. He is a past president of the National Cotton Ginners Association and the Delta Council. Hood is also known as an early adopter of technology. Advanced precision farming is used at Perthshire. This prompted the Hoods to start In Time, a precision farming service based on aerial imagery. The 2014 Extension Cotton Specialist of the Year award went to Dr. Darrin Dodds of the Mississippi State University Extension Service. Dodds was chosen for the honor by his peers. Dodds received his doctorate from MSU and he's worked on the MSU staff for 6 years. In addition to his normal duties working with cotton growers, Dodds also coordinates the popular row crop short course at MSU, which attracts farmers from several states. We extend our congratulations to Kenneth Hood and Darrin Dodds.
The recent return of the Mississippi Legislature to Jackson for its regular session may bring back memories of last summer for some select 4-H members. The young people were part of a 4-day conference then that provided a glimpse of how government works and why business cooperatives are an important part of our economy.
Today what we're going to do is we're going to do a simulation and you're going to play the roles of congressional staffers.
The half-day at the Mississippi Capitol for a hands-on introduction to politics was the midway point of a 4-day bus tour for top 4-H members. However, first and foremost, this leadership conference focused on business.
I have learned a lot about different cooperatives and businesses, especially through having our own soft drink cooperative and serving in that. It's taught me a lot about the world of business.
Various stops during the bus tour also included opportunities for the students to learn about the business of agriculture and where their food comes from.
What is the internal temperature that ground beef should be cooked to?
Whether at the Beef Council offices in Jackson or at the Monsanto Company's demonstration fields and research center in the Delta, the tour was highly interactive for every student.
And I like that it's hands-on. It's not just sitting down and listening. We get to, when we go to Monsanto, they sit us in a classroom and tell us about it, and then we get to go explore their fields and they tell us about it.
The Cooperative Business Tour begins and ends on the campus of Mississippi State in Starkville each year. Plans are already underway for the 2014 event, scheduled for July 15th through the 18th. I'm Leighton Spann reporting.
The Supreme Court of the United States has upheld Monsanto's claims on its genetically engineered seed patents. It also agreed that Monsanto could sue farmers whose fields are contaminated by accident with Monsanto-developed seed traits. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court Monday allowed a lower court ruling to stand and refused to hear a case brought by a group of organic farmers. The Organic Seed Growers and Trade Association, along with many other farmers, including conventional ones, brought the original lawsuit. Now, the farmers wanted a promise from Monsanto to never sue farmers whose fields were accidentally contaminated with Monsanto patented genetically engineered traits. The plaintiffs also sought to challenge Monsanto's patents on its genetically engineered seeds. Monsanto said it has never sued and does not intend to sue farmers whose plants are accidentally contaminated with Monsanto genetic material. Monsanto would not, however, consent to make this policy legally binding. Well, have you ever thought it was hard to have color in the landscape through the winter? In this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman shows us some ideas on combining different landscape plants to make this winter season beautiful.
We're lucky to be gardening in Mississippi, where we can use a combination of plants for winter color. Combining trees, shrubs, flowers, and edible plants makes the cool season exciting and beautiful. Today's Southern Gardening is back visiting our friend Catherine and her beautiful landscape. Creating the background for the winter color are the foundation plantings of Japanese Cleyera. The foliage is thick and leathery with bright red petioles. The new leaves emerge reddish bronze and mature to a lustrous dark green. Catherine has planted colorful matrix pansies in white, blue, and bulldog burgundy. Matrix pansies are some of the best choices for Mississippi landscapes because they hold their flowers high above the foliage. Peacock ornamental kale adds foliage color along with feathered leaves. The deeply serrated leaves add interesting extra texture. The blue and purple pansies are great planting companions. Bright Light Swiss chard is a favorite of mine with stems of red, yellow, gold, and white. This plant is a visual feast in the landscape. The colors are stunning when full grown. In the summer months, Catherine's red lace Japanese maple is gorgeous, but after the leaves have fallen in the fall, I love the ghostly twisted and contorted shapes of the branches. And I love creativity in the landscape and taking advantage of planting opportunities. Where the fronds have been removed from this canary palm, Catherine has planted pansies in the resulting pockets. In the summer, she plants impatiens in the natural palm shade. Just because it's winter doesn't mean you have to take the season off in the garden and landscape. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Gary says don't forget to water during the winter. Often we think it's not hot, so why bother? Just like the summer, watering your landscape is important, especially if you've gone weeks without rain. In the feature segment today, FARMtastic. This Mississippi State University program is showing young students their lives are connected to agriculture every day and in ways they didn't know. Time now for the Markets with Layton, and you say the fallout from the January 10th supply and demand reports is about over?
Extension Ag economist Brian Williams-Artis will be lifting the curtain, so to speak, on the corn and soybean trade in light of those new numbers. Also ahead this week in the markets, U.S. catfish processing is up. February cattle futures hit a new high this week as expansion starts in the U.S. hog sector. Just out on Wednesday were the latest numbers on the U.S. farm-raised catfish industry. Now, in December, this report says producers received a pond-bank price of $1.10 per pound for premium-size live fish. Now, that is 27 cents per pound more than was paid in December 2012. Farm sales totaled over 26.5 million pounds round weight. That is an increase of 18% from just 1 year ago. Now, processor sales were just a touch over 11.5 million pounds. That is a decrease of close to 9% from December 2012. Moving over now to the beef sector. Brugler Marketing on Thursday morning, the 16th, reported cattle futures were 50 to 70 cents higher after surging to yet another record high on Wednesday of this week. Cash cattle activity had picked up as well. Now, in light of the strong prices for cattle these days, analyst Tom Fitzenmeyer is not wondering where's the beef, but can we sell the beef?
You know, we've been talking really for a year about when this is going to start to hit a little bit, and we are seeing weights actually are fairly well under control, and why the heck wouldn't they be? If you got those kind of bids for cattle, you better keep moving them right along. But the product being that high, I guess I'm wondering whether we're going to be able to sell the beef. And I understand that beef is a quality product. It's perceived that way. When people go out to celebrate, they want a steak, and most of the time don't care what they pay for it. So there's that component of the beef market that's going to be supportive. But for anybody who's struggling financially, poultry and pork offer a pretty good value, and that's going to be a problem for the beef industry, I believe.
Speaking of pork, a Midwest Extension economist notes that expansion is underway now in the U.S. hog sector. Chris Hurt of Purdue University says the growth is modest right now and can be attributed to much cheaper feed prices. He expects corn prices to only increase seasonally and then drop again, while soybean meal prices, Hurt says, should move downward most of this year, 2014. Now, overall, the economist says he believes pork supplies in the U.S. will begin to grow more rapidly in the last half of this year, 2014. Our trivia quiz this week concerns winter weather in Mississippi, and let's take a look at it right now. When was the largest one-day snowfall in Mississippi? Your choices for an answer: 1895, 1913, 1989, or 2009. I'll tell you the correct choice at the end of the markets.
We're going to pause for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar and the rest of the markets. Leighton Spann reports cotton is gaining ground, while Brian Williams comments on the soybean and corn reports. In the feature segment today, FARMtastic. It teaches young people how they can't go a day without agriculture affecting their lives.
Hey, do you see something cool?
Sure.
Coming home.
Before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. The 41st Delta Ag Expo makes its annual run. That's Thursday and Friday, January 23rd and 24th. It takes place in Cleveland, Mississippi at the Bolivar County Expo Center. That's located near the intersections of Highways 8 and 61. There's no admission fee. In addition to the many vendors who will be on site, there will be several educational sessions. An irrigation roundtable will be held Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon sessions include cotton, soybeans, and a polypipe planting seminar. Friday morning, the sessions will cover rice, corn, small grains, and grain storage. In less than a month, the North Mississippi Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association will hold its annual conference and trade show. It takes place Thursday and Friday, February 6th and 7th at the Lee County Agri Center on Highway 145 at Verona. Vegetable variety selection, greenhouse tomatoes, and fruit crops are on the agenda. Selling produce through the Farm to School program and the Mississippi Market Ready program will be offered as well. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
Thursday morning, the 16th, the USDA reported weekly cotton export sales are up sharply from the last report 1 week ago. Now, overall in this market, improving economic indicators have traders somewhat optimistic about cotton demand. The thinking is that as the economy improves, so does the consumer's ability to purchase new clothing. Arkansas Farm Bureau economists do note that cotton prices are at a key resistance area, as they put it, an area about 85 cents. And those prices have been unable to break that resistance in recent trading sessions. Well, the recent crop and supply demand reports from the USDA and what they had to say about the grain and oilseed markets are the focus of the market interview this week. Extension Ag economist Brian Williams joined me for a discussion late Thursday morning. Well, let's begin with corn as we look back at those reports from January 10th. Was there anything unusual or surprising about the corn numbers?
There was one real big surprise in the corn numbers. The yield actually was revised down. Most analysts were expecting it to be bumped up, but they actually bumped it down from 160.4 bushels to acre to 158.8, and that was actually outside the range of expectations.
Well, what about feed usage? Was that changed in any regard?
It was. They increased the feed use by 100 million bushels, which was, we think it probably took some of the bushels away from wheat. And corn carryout, any modifications there? Yeah, they decreased it by 160 million bushels, both as the decrease in production and the increase in demand. Would you say the trade was kind of caught off guard by the numbers in the corn portion of the report? It was. The same day the report came out, prices came down by 20 cents, or went up by 20 cents, and so it caught a lot of people off guard. So given what that report said, all things taken into consideration, is it time to be making some sales, old or new crop, or both? I think it's definitely something to think about. There's a lot of things that can still play into it. We're watching the South American crop, and they have a good crop that's coming in, and we're also watching for the planting intentions, but right now I definitely think it's something to think about. And I know the livestock sector seems to be planning on the pressure continuing to be on corn prices. Would you say that will be the case? Right. With cattle prices coming up so much, and a lot of that is relying on the lower corn prices. All right, let's turn our attention to soybeans for a moment. Any surprises in the soybean sector? Not really. The yields were right at expectations. For the most part, everything was real close to the expectations in soybeans. Before our new feature story, let's check out the trivia answer for this week. And the correct choice is A. That big snowfall occurred in 1895, 15 inches in one day. The location, Batesville in North Mississippi.
In our feature story today, Farmweek's Amy Taylor tells us about an event that's designed to teach school children about their daily contact with agriculture.
That's right, artists. With agriculture being Mississippi's #1 industry, you might be surprised that many folks in the state are not aware of where food and fiber comes from. In 2012, the Mississippi State University Extension Service and Mississippi Farm Bureau created FARMtastic, an event that educates young people about the impact of agriculture in our daily lives. The event has been a huge success as it offers hands-on, up-close learning experiences. If you get the chance to experience FARMtastic, you'll realize there's no brief way to describe this event because there's so much to see. The event is designed to educate young people about where their food, fiber, clothing, and other important items come from, such as products made from trees. Mississippi State University Extension Service agent Julie White explains the inspiration behind FARMtastic, which was created in 2012 by MSU Extension Service and Mississippi Farm Bureau.
I just wanted to see the kids learn where their food and fiber comes from. I was tired of going to the schools and being around and the kids telling me that chocolate milk come from a brown cow. And I'm a dairy farmer, and every time I milked cows, it was always white. And so I really wanted to do something to promote agriculture in our county.
White says the event offered 7 stations. The first was a livestock exhibit with cattle, horses, goats, chickens, and turkeys. Next, visitors went through a large row crop station that included a cotton gin, soybean exhibit, and even a display explaining the development of farm equipment from the very beginning. They were also educated about peanut farming and sweet potato production in Mississippi. Additionally, a wonder garden demonstrated fruit and vegetable gardening and the process of photosynthesis and soil composition. In the wildlife and forestry exhibit, young people learned about identifying animal tracks and how to determine the age of a tree, as well as everyday items that come from trees. Next, the farm toy exhibit educated students about the role agriculture plays in sports and recreational items. Additionally, a farm village was created to show the connection agriculture has with grocery stores, farm supplies, medical centers, the construction of buildings, and even transportation. Finally, young people were educated about how the nutritional guide called My Plate should be used when preparing healthy meals. Mississippi State University Animal and Dairy Sciences undergraduate instructor Jessica Graves helped with the livestock exhibit.
Basically, we have students come in and walk through and learn about different agriculture and livestock species. So those students have the ability to go station to station, learn about what dairy cows are, where milk comes from, learn what products that we get from dairy cows. Likewise, they stop and see a pig, and so they learn where bacon comes from and where ham comes from, etc.
Additionally, Graves says young people were shown how to milk a cow and learned the various types of grain and seed that are fed to livestock. Nelda Stark with Mississippi Farm Bureau talks about the activity she led at FARMtastic.
Today I'm making pancakes, showing them the relationship between pancakes and wheat. We have a display of wheat growing and some pictures of the harvest scene. So I want them to know that the pancakes are a result of the wheat being made into flour and then into pancakes.
In addition, Stark says students were given cups of fresh whipping cream to shake up and make into butter. Stark also planted the vegetables that were in the Wonder Garden exhibit to help illustrate the connection between the farm and the plate. Volunteers say before visiting FARMtastic, young people had some pretty interesting ideas about where they thought food and agricultural products came from.
But I had students come up and ask me about what part of a dairy cow does eggs come from, and I had to explain that eggs are not dairy, that eggs do come from poultry, and those are two separate entities.
When I ask them where pancakes come from, some will say from a pig, from a cow, from corn, and of course I correct them and tell them that most pancakes are made from wheat.
Of course, they, don't always pick up on the things that we want them to, whether it's they still tell us that cotton comes from a sheep, was one of the comments that we've had this week, but we've kind of corrected that as they've gone through the exhibit. And so we hope that they are picking up the actual facts about where their food and fiber comes from, and they're just really excited. Their faces just light up as they're in the exhibit, and that is why I do this.
White says countless hours went into building the structures used in FARMtastic, which were carefully designed to portray the need for agriculture in our daily lives. For example, the farm village featured a wide variety of agricultural products. The exhibit displayed food products, building supplies, a farm store, medical center, and even a sporting goods shop. Additionally, students were given a worksheet to help them comprehend what they learned. Julie White says the young people enjoyed each activity, but one particular exhibit was the favorite.
Farm Toys has been their favorite room this year, and that's our sports room. Basically, it highlights how football and basketball and baseball and golf and those big sports that we like to play couldn't take place without agriculture, because football is actually made from the pigskin, so we have to have those. But that has been their favorite room, and I think it just kind of gives them a break in going through the rooms. It gives them a break and time to play.
Additionally, White says she and others involved in FARMtastic have plans to expand the event. While they are happy to host FARMtastic at the Mississippi Horse Park in Starkville, they hope to take it to other locations as well.
What we'd really like to do is take this statewide eventually and have it housed at the different agri-centers around the state, including sometime during the State Fair of the Dixie National. We also will be writing a curriculum that we will be able to provide the third grade teachers that they can use before and after in their classrooms to make this more of a program instead of just an event, and to give a full range of agriculture education throughout a school year.
Right now, FARMtastic includes 7 stations, and next year, White says aquaculture will be added as the 8th exhibit. In only its second year, the annual event drew a crowd of 800 visitors, and White says they hope to increase that number in the future. By observing the reactions of young people who experience FARMtastic, it can be expected the event will continue to succeed at teaching our young people about the necessity of agriculture in their daily lives. From Starkville, Mississippi, I'm Amy Taylor reporting.
You can watch this story on FARMtastic on our Farmweek website, Facebook page, or YouTube. The website address is farmweek.msucares.com.
If you're interested in attending FARMtastic or starting your own, Julie White can help. We'll have her phone number and contact links on our website and Facebook page.
Amy, you said there was also a time when the public could attend.
Right. FARMtastic runs Monday through Friday for the students, but then that following Saturday, there's a time when the public can come and anyone can come to FARMtastic.
So helping everyone out.
That's right.
Good story. We are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our next show, agricultural drones.
Many say that drones will have uses in production agriculture. They will examine the health of individual fields and help growers diagnose problems. Some believe ag drones will eventually arrive in a box ready to use.
In southern gardening, bumblebees. They appear fearsome, but they're some of the best friends your garden has. And if you'd like further information on Farm Week story, our address is Farm Week, Box 9625, Mississippi State, Mississippi 39762. That's Box 9625, Mississippi State, Mississippi 39762. Our telephone number is 662-325-2262. You can also get in touch with us through your county office of the Mississippi State University Extension Service. For the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Leighton Spann. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.